Welcome, everyone, to Stepping Into Your Leadership. I'm your host, Christine Courtney. Our goal here is to give you some actionable takeaways that will help you lead your teams. Thanks for joining us on this leadership journey. Let's get started.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this brand new year of Stepping Into Your Leadership. Some of you who are our loyal listeners may have recognized that we have not been on in quite some time because we've kind of been rejudging things and thinking about where do we want this podcast to go? What's next for us? How do we provide the most value for our listeners? And in a way, step it up, right? I'm constantly looking at how do I step into my leadership more? How do I encourage others to step into their leadership? Because I do believe that at the soul of who I am, that is my mission. So forgive me for being gone for a few months now, but I think you're going to be excited as to where we're going. I know I am. So what you have to look forward to in this year, normally at this year, we talk about the word of the year, we talk about goal setting or all of those things that can be fun and important. And don't worry, I have been goal setting like crazy. I've been working on my 2026 bingo card. I had a sleepover with my friends and had everybody do it because, I'm leading workshops no matter where I am in my personal life and my family life and certainly in my work life. So that can come and we will talk about how to set some goals. So be thinking about that because I do want this year to be transformational for all of you guys, just like it is, I think, for us here at Leadership, Stepping Into Your Leadership and Leadership Partners and Leadership. So what I'm going to say is that I've been thinking a lot about the office and oh my God, the debates, even around holiday tables and so forth, over whether people that want to go back to the office, things that people think it's important for young people to go back to the office. One of the guys that I love to listen to, Scott Galloway out of NYU, had a great thing where he was talking about that the second worst thing to happen to young people, some of you may have heard this, the second worst thing to happen to young people is the work from home culture. Because he was saying that basically 1 in 3 people in the past have met their spouses or their significant others at work. And if we're not providing a place for young people to meet people, we're actually making it very difficult for them to meet and pair up and create future people and also just have really cool experiences. And then he said the first worst thing, which, very controversial in the way that Scott Galloway can, is that the drop in the amount of alcohol intake, because, we all make kind of interesting choices on alcohol that pull us together sometimes in weird ways. That is controversial in Scott Galloway's opinion, not mine. So you don't have to write to me or Tatiana about that. But I will say that the work from home culture is the one that I want to focus on. And it's interesting because I hear from lots of leaders about their frustrations. And I mean, when I say lots of leaders, I mean hundreds of leaders about their frustration of people not wanting to come back into the office. And I think that we as leaders have to look at this differently. I think we need to look at what experience are we creating in the workplace that makes it a place that people want to come? And I don't mean want to come in the sense of like put in a yoga studio, a bar, a ping pong table, sure, that's fine. But that's not pulling people to work. That's pulling people to come to work just so they can do their fun activities. Instead, I'm saying make work, the actual place of work, interesting. Create experiences that people will say, oh my gosh, if I am not at work, I am missing out on this. And not I'm missing out on, the Lego championship that we're putting together. Although that is great. And you know me, I love a game and that can be helpful. But I'm saying like, what are you creating in your meetings? What's happening when people walk through that door that they're like, oh, this is an important place to be. And my sense of purpose and who I am and what I'm creating in this world is made better because I am in this place with these people. I don't care if it's an office building that you've had in your family for centuries, or if it's a co-working space that you rent out to bring your employees together. But if you bring them together and all you are doing is pretending that you are at home on your Zoom rooms and everybody disperses to a million different little meetings, that is absolutely insanity. And I find it happening more and more and more. People will be together in offices and then go sit in little separate rooms to have a million different little meetings. Sometimes even choosing instead to be together to go get on their computers, even though they're a few feet away from each other so that they can talk to each other. So we have created a monster in this way. Now, I understand there are plenty of good things about working from home. Most of those good things from working at home, besides just that it's easier and we save time on commute. I understand that commuting can be a waste of time. However, it's not a waste of time if you're using it for either reading or listening to things that that's a perfect time to listen to podcasts. That's a perfect time to listen to books on tape. Whatever it is, it transitions you to a different world, whether it's your work world or your home world or your workout world or your social life. It's a transition time. That being said, yes, people can make an argument that commuting time is bad. It also can be made that it's much easier. It's much easier for me to stay in bed, roll out later, because let's face it, I'm rolling out of bed later and come into work on my little computer here, right? I think for those of us who are older, for Gen X or above, yeah, working from home is awesome. I think what we need to look at, though, is we are leaders and the next generation of talent needs us. They need us to mentor them. They need us to help them connect with each other. Some of the new folks coming in the workspace were the kids who were most affected in some cases. I mean, there's debate about this still, and we'll see. But those folks that were adolescents in COVID, where in their middle school, high school, college years, were all of a sudden taken out and put into their parents' basement or whatever on Zoom with teachers, God bless them, who had very little to no experience with how to teach online and were forced to figure out how to help these kids teach online. And these kids are so farther advanced technology wise that they were completely distracted. They were doing video games while they were trying to be in school. And how's a new teacher supposed to figure all that out? And so now those kids are coming into the workplace with more social anxiety than we've ever seen, more mental health issues than we've ever seen, more problems with knowing how do I network. Because during that really important time of adolescence, guess what? They were pulled apart in the time that they should be learning how to socialize, how to read social cues, how to look people in the face and read, oh, they're upset with me, or, oh, this isn't going over well, or, oh, they're interested, or, oh, I should try to communicate more with this person. All of those things that happen and we don't realize, all those learnings that are happening besides the book learning, that didn't get to happen with these kids. And so we, I think, as leaders, have to take more of a role of what I'm calling kind of experience managers. And that is one, teaching a little more. But to teach well, we need to be there in front of them, showing them how that it's safe, that things are happening, that you can learn these things, that they can learn from us by watching. And that we're then creating very intentional experiences that craft the workplace and the culture that we want to have and that we want young people to have and feel more committed and connected to our work. And by the way, it's not just good for young people. It's good for all of us. We all want to feel a deeper sense of purpose, a deeper sense of connection. We can pay our people more, which is what basically we've been doing now for the past 5 years since people started leaving for the gig economy and COVID. We started paying people more, but that's one thing. But you know what? Someone else will pay them more too. What you have that nobody else has is that very human experience that no one's talking about right now because everyone's talking about AI, right? AI this, AI that, and God knows we need to get better at AI for sure. However, there are still going to be people that need to run the AI, and there's still going to be people that need to create human experiences out of things. And I believe strongly, and this is where this podcast is going, if you're wondering why I'm rambling on about this, is that I want to look at leaders that are creating experiences, human experiences that make the workplace more exciting, more purposeful, more performance driven. Because I believe that if people are in a room together, you are going to have more exciting, more innovative, and more creative solutions to things. However, you can't just throw them in a room and expect it to happen by magic. No, like we have to intentionally create experiences for that. And I'm going to talk throughout this entire year on different experiences, very practical. Don't worry. I'm going to go back to my very actionable tips on all of these things, but we're going to really talk about how do you craft culture in this next decade ahead of us? How do we as leaders in our final stamp on our leadership as Gen Xers in these next 10 years, as baby boomers in these next 10 years, as these older millennials in these next 10 years, and if you're lucky enough to be a younger millennial in an up-and-coming leadership position, this is where we are going to craft something to be exciting. Just like people now want to travel more than they've ever done, they want experiences over things. I believe that if we can create experiences over things in our workplaces, we are going to unleash some pretty exciting potential in employees that we haven't seen in a while. So my quest this year and my goal, my underlining why of this entire year is going to be, how do we do that? How do we craft culture based on some pretty powerful experiences, that some that take a lot of work and some that take very little and no money at all? How do we create connection? How do we create purpose? How do we make the workplace, whatever that looks like to you? And it may be remote. I don't mind. Sometimes people are like, you know what? We're all remote. You can still create pretty exciting experiences remotely, but it does take work. It does take the guts to say, okay, we're going to redo all our meetings. You know what? Cut them all. We're over meetinged. This is not about adding meetings. This is about making the ones we have absolutely purposeful, so that every single person in that meeting knows why I'm here, what I'm supposed to contribute, and what I'm going to walk away with doing afterwards. So if you do one thing today, cut all your meetings. Just cut them all and start over. Doesn't mean don't put them back. Put back the ones that matter, but you know what? Rename them just for kicks. Rename them all. I'm doing it too. We're cutting all our regular meetings. We're cutting all of our regular meetings, and we're going to start over and go, what meetings do we absolutely need? Where do they need to happen? And what are we going to set them up for? What kind of experience do we want to have in those? Even if it's a 20-minute online check-in, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's made more exciting by, a timer, or what people need to bring, or a fascinating opening question that gets people's brains woken up in a new way, because I do feel that we need to be woken up a little bit after this post-COVID malaise that we've been in. So you are going to hear from some new people in this year's podcast. You'll have some old lovies, as I call them, old folks, that I've worked with for years, that I love, that bring tons of enjoyment for me and also enrichment to, I think, a lot of people, and what do they bring. But we're also going to have a lot of new people. Some I don't even know. People that I am going out on a limb to ask to come in to say, will you do this with me? People that maybe I was scared of before, I questioned myself, or I thought, oh, no one would want to come onto my podcast or whatever. Forget that. Those days are over. I'm on a quest to create experiences to make workplaces across this country more exciting, better, and to develop talent in the process, because your talent is your biggest possibility for return on investment. It will make your life better. It will make the company's life better. It will be more sustainable, and you'll actually sleep better at night too. So there's always a bonus with that. So anyway, join us this year for a whole new Stepping Into Your Leadership. You're still going to get the same kind of actionable content, tips, stories, good stories, also stories of struggle, but stories of success and ways that you can implement it right away. But from not only myself here, but lots of other new people coming along the way. So I look forward to it. Write to us, join us, whether it's online, or we're also starting a whole new YouTube channel. So that'll be exciting to look out for, and we'll talk about that. We're also revamping the way we do our online training, so look out for that. But it's a whole new year of how can we create the most value by the most experience. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. I'd like to give a special shout out to our podcast producer, Richard Francisco. Check out our notes for any details. And if you get anything out of this, please follow us. And if you enjoy it, please take a moment to rate us or write a comment. It will mean the world to us. We'd love to hear from you. And if you just can't get enough, follow me on TikTok and check out tlpnyc.com/podcast for more information.